What a great pleasure it is to welcome André De Wet, who's the co-founder and CEO of Flood Finance. André, warm welcome to you. I hope that the Cape is a little bit warmer than Joburg. How are you doing?
Okay, I'm well. Always good to see you, man. And thanks a stack. Yeah, I was in Joburg yesterday, strangely enough, and the Joburg's typically cold in the morning, and then it warms up. In Cape Town, it just stays chilly.
Okay, well, listen, I think it's just winter for all of us across the country.
Exactly.
So we'll have to just survive it. Listen, Andre, just tell us about Flood. What actually inspired you to create Flood Finance? What's Flood Finance all about?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I have a smile. You can call it just Flood. Flood Finance is because it's the domain is flood.finance. So it's just the URL. So people say Flood Finance, but it's just Flood. Okay, as you might know, I built and grew Price Check back in the day, and then under the Naspers banner, exited it out to a venture capital company, and have since then. What we did in Price Check, I realized that there's a massive gap in the offline arena or offline bricks and mortar retail that is not in the digital space. And the whole basis around Flood is what we do with Flood is we empower a small mom and pop store to be able to be found on a digital platform. They don't build a website. They don't build an e-commerce site. This is crucially important is that we have a very clever merchant onboarding. All I need to know is who you are, where you are, and what you sell. And then I make you findable. And we then partner with large audience players like telcos, neobanks, and banks, because they've already got an app that people use on a near daily basis. And what happens there is that once you open that, we then use geolocation and the clever stuff on a mobile phone to be able to show you and find for you what's near you and what's in your immediate vicinity. Somebody can be walking in Soweto down a road or Khayelitsha here in Cape Town and suddenly find the little spaza shops and the mom and pop stores that are in their immediate vicinity. Or you walk into a mall, and then suddenly you find what's on special in that mall because there's clever promotional platforms on the platform for a merchant then to broadcast to people in his immediate vicinity.
Gee whiz, I think that's absolutely brilliant. And when you look at that size of the market that you're talking about, how influential those small businesses are in the economy and how important they are, I think what you're doing is absolutely brilliant. Now, Andre, you described Flood Marketplace as a Shopify for brick and mortar retailers. How do you help legacy retailers compete in an increasingly digital world?
Well, again, interesting question there, because the legacy retailers, they're all competing right now against 60/60. And what's them? Those guys have dominated that market so well because they tick all the boxes that you're looking for. On the other side, our main aim is to drive traffic in store. The legacy retailers still print brochures. What we do is we're just a digital brochure for a person to walk in store. The whole key is to be able to as you let's take a shopping mall. You walk into Sandton City. You don't know what's on special in all the stores, so you got to walk around and try and find them if you've got the time. Or imagine you could walk in, open an app that you use every day, and it suddenly shows you what's on special at the different retailers, and then I drive traffic in store, and then we play with that one as well. We bring brands into it, so I can start playing around and promoting brands. So a Coca-Cola or a Nescafe can come to the platform and say, Nescafe is now on special, and they then just, whatever retailer you walk into, you can then, there's a loyalty angle built into it where you've got a cashback. So if you buy that specific product or from that specific retailer, there's a cashback that comes into your wallet that you can then spend on any of these stores that are in your immediate vicinity.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. I love how you've thought about this. There's a lot of thought that's gone into this, and it's absolutely an incredible product. Now, I'm trying to play this out through my mind. How do these retailers expand their presence in an increasingly digital world? Because let's be honest, it's changing very fast as well.
Yeah, okay, it's changing very fast. When you say these retailers, do you mean brick and mortar retailers or your traditional one? So the brick and mortar retailer, the mom and pop store, is very much a big part of our focus. And let me give you a bit of a historical background. We built for Urido, the telco in the Maldives, the same platform, and on their day-to-day app, 28% of the country use this platform now, every single day. So the uptake is massive. And so we proved the model that it works, so that people want to know every day what's happening in his immediate vicinity. So we believe that we have an operational to make a generational change, how these small retailers will get into the digital world. We don't have logistics in this country. You don't have infrastructure to be able to do deliveries and returns, but you do have traffic. The guy is walking from the taxi rank home. He doesn't know in the street next to it that he normally walks, there's a butcher or a guy selling shoes or a guy selling clothes. I picked this up when we built Price Check in Nigeria. There's all these little shops where things are bought and sold. The guy that is down the road is walking home. He doesn't know one street away there's a guy that's suddenly got a new bale of product in from China and that it's now available. Imagine that you could find on a digital platform what's available a street away, and then it changes the economy, and then that in itself, there's a payment wallet that goes with it. So you're starting to move away from cash. The government's putting a ton of money behind trying to help the spaza shops get into the digital economy. Let's take it one step at a time. You're not going to ever get a spaza shop that builds a website. What is clever is they're starting to also list some of the spaza shops on Takealot. The problem is logistics there. You still got to deliver somewhere. So, you can't deliver from a spaza shop to Cape Town. That's just a tricky thing. A spaza shop in Joburg. But you can drive traffic into that store for the guy to be able to do that. And we believe that one step into the digital arena is what we've got to follow first. Let's get the guy found on a digital platform. In time, we can build up on all the other ones.
Absolutely fascinating. So let's come back to those legacy retailers that you touched on earlier. How do these legacy retailers then expand their presence in an increasing digital world?
Well, again, it's an interesting answer on that one, because do I answer it and say that guys are going to build more e-commerce stores? Because that then takes away from what I'm trying to do. Because I'm saying that e-commerce doesn't work in traditional markets or emerging markets like we think they would in the American market. Take a look at the guys built Jumia in Africa. It doesn't work. Takealot still isn't making money. However, Takealot's really doing a great job. I'll give them that. Slowly but surely it's coming through. My recommendation for any legacy retailer or traditional retailer is get onto a marketplace as soon as possible, be that Takealot or be that Amazon or whatever it is. People are looking for day-to-day products on those marketplaces. If one of the old traditional retailers was to get on it, build a website and get yourself onto a marketplace, because that's where the traffic is. That's why guys open a store in a mall, because that's where the traffic is. Same thing. What happens on digital happens, or what happens in offline, in the offline world happens in the retail space, and the digital retail space. So, but so the traditional retailers, where do they go? Well, they come to a platform like ours, or they go to another marketplace. So you've got to get into a marketplace where the traffic is.
Wow, it's absolutely fascinating. As you're talking, everything that you're saying makes absolute sense to me. Those basic things that you buy every single day, I think it's absolutely brilliant. Now, let's come back to Flood. So tell me about Flood and unpack the types of tools and technologies that Flood offers to their clients.
So, okay, what's important is two things to take a look at. One, we've got two different clients. My one client is the telco and the bank. I allow the telco and the bank to be able to plug an SDK into his current app, and for him then to be able to expose this massive marketplace that we have to their audience. We bring into the play mobile money, so the bank or the telco can increase use of their mobile money platform that then starts being used on a daily basis. We bring loyalty into the platform so that the end user gets a cashback for every transaction he does. And then all of this is tracked very closely so that the merchant and the large audience owner knows exactly what's happening and tracks the big data, so that we can take a look, see from a point of view is that a merchant can see what sells more at what time of the day. Where do I promote things? We help them with the kind of promotions, because a merchant can do a push notification to everybody in his immediate vicinity that is interested in his product. And what I mean by that is we AI track very cleverly who's on the platform. So I would know that okay, Anastasia, I wouldn't know that it's you, I would know what's there, a male is on the platform and is interested in, you know, this kind of beer or that. So I know I know that it's like a grayed out model. I know who it is, know what you like, and then so I push the right kind of stuff to you. I'm not going to get something from Baby City pushed to you. You know,
Yes,
so,
yes.
but I'm going to get something from, you know, from a clothing store or something like that, pushed to you because I know that you like, you know, that you'd like to know, buy the new Nikes that are available. And so all the pieces of the puzzle, all, you know, all the layers of the onion are there, from payments and loyalty, through to what's the tracking of what's happening on all the different stores. And this counts both for the large audience player like the
Right.
telco or the bank, and also for the merchant himself.
Can you dive a little bit deeper and give us some more of those successful projects that you guys have implemented at Flood?
Yeah, okay. Good question there. So as I said to you, we built this platform for a small telco in a small geographical area. And the reason for that is it's always easier to build something in a small area. You can make it fall over and it doesn't, you know, doesn't make too much of a problem. But what we learned there is how to onboard merchants. One of the biggest problems that the marketplaces that are the super apps thinking of, the marketplaces that the guys are taking to market right now, is merchant onboarding. Every telco we speak to asks us, how do you do merchant onboarding? And we've got some really clever tech. We hide the clever tech. It looks easy, and it looks only easy when you hide the clever tech. How to help merchants onboard themselves. We partner there with guys that have got big merchant audiences and work with a telco. Merchant onboarding is fundamentally important. It takes us 5 minutes to onboard. I know some of the platforms that are currently in the country, it takes you up to 4 months to try and onboard. Or you've got to go and build your own e-commerce website. And with ours, you don't need to. You just fill in who you are, what you're selling, and where you are, so that I can find you and I can show people that this is a shoe store, and they know that down this road, if I walk here, you know, and then we've got integrated into that how to use Google Maps, or you can call an Uber to take you to the place, whatever you want to do. And the success stories come from, as I said, in the Maldives, 28% of the country use it every day. You know, you take a look at, you think to yourself, imagine if you had 28% of the country of South Africa use a platform every day. It's a kingmaker in the space. We're just finalizing now, or have finalized. We're now busy with the rollout in West Africa, in Ghana, and then taking a look at countries in Mauritius, and also playing around in interesting, lots of interest from Latin America, because it's an emerging market again. Those guys have the small mom and pops that are not in the digital environment that also want to come to the party. Anywhere you've got a scenario where you've got like Southeast Asia as well. I lived there for a couple of years, where you have a small mom and pop that wants to get into the digital arena, but doesn't know how to build a website or how to do deliveries and returns and all of that type of stuff, is where our success really lies, is to be able to drive this traffic in store. And we're slowly but surely changing minds, and it's going to work well. It's starting to, the initial take up is fantastic. So we're now taking that to the real players.
Oh, it sounds like a very exciting journey that you're on. Now, businesses that are watching this and listening to this may find the journey to running their own localized super apps a little bit intimidating. I'm listening to you and I'm finding it slightly intimidating, but I get what you're doing, and I think that, you know, you've got me. I've bought in. But how would you allay these concerns to these businesses that you know, need to run their own localized super apps?
Sure. Okay, that's always an interesting angle to take a look at, because the sometimes when we deal with some of the bigger telcos, they're like, we can do it ourselves, and then a year later we come knock at their door again, and they're like, we didn't get this thing right. The beauty about it is that our system kind of takes care of everything, if I can put it that way, from an easy point of view. It's an SDK plugin into the telco's super app, or self-service app. There where people check data and voice and all of that type of stuff. Just a new little button that comes up that says shopping or discover. Click on that, and then the Flood ecosystem opens up. So there's no big tech lift from a telco, from a large audience player point of view, from a bank or someone like that. And then the merchant onboarding, we've kind of got that wrapped up very well. So it makes it very easy for us to come to a large audience player with a large marketplace. Because for a marketplace to work, somebody taught me this many years ago, is you need the flywheel, you need lots of SKUs, and you need lots of audience. To get the lots of SKUs, you've got to get merchant onboarding. What we do is we do add some of the international players as well, because they deliver quite effectively, whereas the local guys don't deliver as effectively. And then you've got the large audience, and slowly but surely the marketplace and the merchant onboarding works. There's clever ways of people onboarding merchants to be able to get them on board, and we take care of all of that. So with the telco or the bank or the guy that's a little bit scary, I've got a large audience, but how do I capitalize on them? We're like, okay, we've done this very well over the last 3 or 4 years. This is how long we've been going. Flood was registered in 2021, and we've been building platforms around to be able to do this quite effectively around the world.
So when you look at your clientele and you look at the way that the super app thinking is going about it, who would be your ideal client for this kind of super app thinking that you're talking about?
Well, okay, what's in the right now we get a scenario where you've got the telcos, because anybody with a large audience, telco, radio station, bank, neobank. My most exciting one is a neobank, because two things: they've got very good financial backing normally behind them to be able to help push this thing, and they need a differentiator to get them into the market. This is where we play a very, very crucial role, is to be able to help them and differentiate them, and to give them something that makes it better than the guy next door to him. And there was them. So telcos and banks are by far the ideal ideal client on this one.
Yeah, especially from the size wise and the ability to take the data and the businesses that you talk about and kind of roll it out. Now,
exactly.
How do large? Yeah.
I wrote an article for Forbes once where the heading was "Distribution Trumps Innovation," and also based around it is, in Africa, for something to work, you need trust. Telcos and banks have that trust factor already. All we're doing is we're taking that and helping that capitalize. Sorry, I just wanted to add that in. You going into a question there.
I think it's such an important thing that you said, because banks and telcos have been there for a long time. They're long established. They already have the client base. Now, anybody watching this right now, they're a large telco or they're into finance or whatever the case may be. How do large audience players get started with Flood? What's the journey? How should they start?
Well, okay, the best way of obviously to start is to get in touch with us. Either via email or find me on LinkedIn is just as easy. And from that point of view, we then build a business case around it for them. I am off to Ghana in 2 weeks' time to finalize there. That one's finalized. The contracts are done. We're just now doing the integration and the final merchant onboarding. Then we're off to clients in Panama. There's a client from Turkey speaking to us, one from Southeast Asia, in Philippines and Thailand. So the reach out is quite easily. The LinkedIn André De Wet, you'll find me quite easily to be able to take this thing further and pick it up.
And what's your website address?
As you said in the beginning, Flood Finance. So it's www.flood.finance.
Brilliant. That's so easy. Flood.finance, or look for André De Wet on LinkedIn. You'll find him. And what a fascinating business. André, it's really great to see you again after all these years. And thank you for joining us for this episode of What's Next.
Okay, always a pleasure to speak to you. And thank you so much for giving me the time of day. It's always nice to speak to you guys and to bring new tech that excites me. I've done a few talks about the tech that comes out of South Africa. There's clever stuff comes out of here, and we believe this is the next one.
André De Wet, co-founder and CEO of Flood Finance, joining us for this episode of What's Next.